I will now call to order the regular council meeting of the Town of St. Andrews, Monday, January 14th, 2019, at 7 p.m. at the W.C. O'Neill Arena Complex Visitor Information Center. Recording of attendance, I note that all members of council are in attendance, and under A1, we will now proceed to give the oath of office to our new councillor-elect, Kate Akagi. Kate?
Before we begin, I'd just like to thank all those who let the name stand for the municipal election back on December the 10th. That the municipal elections and working for council is sort of the cornerstone of the democracy, where the members here can have say in the direct community and get results in an immediate way, and the easiest access for members of the public is to access their local council. So thank you to those who let their name stand, and congratulations to Mrs. Catherine Akagi for her, Miss Catherine Akagi, sorry, for her win. So I'd like you to put your right hand on the Bible, and I can hold this for you if you like.
Thank you.
And would you please,
My glasses.
you certainly may submit the oath of office, please.
I, Catherine Kate A. Akagi, of the Town of St. Andrews, swear that I am, to the best of my knowledge and belief, qualified for the officer of councillor for the local government of the Town of St. Andrews, to which office I have been elected, and that I accept the office for which I am elected, and will diligently and faithfully and impartially discharge to the best of my ability the duties of the office as may be imposed on me by law, so help me God.
Congratulations, Councillor Akagi. You may take your place at the table.
We're all set. Now we have a full council in place for the first time since last April. We move on. Approval of agenda. I will look for a motion now to approve the agenda as written. Councillor Grew, thank you. And the seconder? Councillor Bishop, thank you very much. All in favor of approving the agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you very much. The agenda is approved. We'll move to disclosure of conflict of interest in relation to tonight's agenda. Councillor Akagi?
Sorry, I'm sorry, Mayor.
No, that's quite all right.
The only one I have is for the dial-a-ride, that I may be excused because I'm still on the board.
Okay, you will just count on you to do that at the appropriate time.
Thank you.
Councillor Akagi. All right, any others? Seeing none, we can move on. We now go to the approval of the minutes of previous meetings. There are 6 of them, by the looks of it. 5, I guess. We will move through those. We'll look first at the minutes of the special meeting of council, December the 5th, which was the hearing of objections to bylaw Z18-04, being a bylaw to repeal and replace bylaw 10-04 and any amendments thereto. Look for a motion to approve those minutes if there are no changes. Deputy Mayor Henderson, thank you. And a seconder for that, please. Councillor Gumashel, thank you. All in favor, if there are no comments on the minutes, all in favor of approving those minutes, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, those minutes are approved. We will move to the minutes of the regular meeting of council, December 10th, 2018. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes, please? Councillor Bishop? Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Grew. Councillor Bishop will second it. Any comments on those minutes? If not, all in favor of approving those minutes, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, we will approve those minutes as well. They are approved. And now we will move to the minutes of the special meeting of council, December the 12th, 2018. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes? Yeah, Deputy Mayor Henderson, seconded by Councillor Bishop. Thank you. If no comments on the minutes, all in favor of approving those minutes, please signify by saying aye. Seeing none opposed, those minutes are also approved. Now we will move to the minutes of the special meeting of council December 17th, 2018, which was called for 2019 budget discussion. I'd like to have a motion to approve those minutes. Deputy Mayor Henderson. And a seconder. Councillor Grew, thank you. Any comments on those minutes? If not, we'll look to call the question. All in favor of approving those minutes, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, those minutes are also approved. And we will move to the minutes of a special meeting of council of December the 19th, 2018. A motion to approve those minutes, please. Deputy Mayor Henderson, thank you, and seconded by Councillor Bishop. Any comments? If not, all in favor of approving the minutes of December the 19th, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, those minutes are also approved. And now we will move to the minutes of the special meeting of council of January the 7th, 2019, which is the hearing of objections to bylaw 18-08, a bylaw of the town of St. Andrews to impose a business improvement levy. I have a motion to approve that. Deputy Mayor, thank you. And seconded by Councillor Bishop. Any comments on that? All in favor of those minutes, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, then those minutes are also approved. So we had a busy month, 6 sets of minutes. So anyway, thank you, Council. We will move on to presentations. There are no presentations. There are no communications to be read at this meeting. And then we will move to staff reports, and I think I will ask Corporal Hanson, to do with the police report in case he has other responsibilities to go to.
Thank you, Your Worship. And Mayor Nation Council, first of all, a happy New Year. I just want to present the monthly RCMP activity report. This will be for the period November 21st, 2018 to December 20th, 2018 for the town of St. Andrews. A total of 33 calls for service or investigations were conducted during this period, which is down a remarkable 23 from the previous reporting period, and no street checks were reported during this review period. Of these, a total of 9 criminal code investigations, up 1, were conducted by the St. Andrews RCMP. That being said, that even though we're much lower call volume, most of the ones we were dealing with are fairly serious. Starting with the most serious incidents involved a series of alleged assaults that resulted in a social media threat against local students, resulting in police providing a full day on-site security during a hold and secure of a local school, and presence patrols of the arena during a hockey game the following evening. Just wanted to make a note of thank you to Corporal Scott McKenzie from the St. Stephen Detachment, who on his own time assisted my team in providing security at the school, while we also conducted patrols of the town site. St. Andrews RCMP conducted a total of 6 check stops for drug-impaired driving, speed and distracted driving checkpoints, in which a total of 247 vehicles were checked, and 12 tickets. The original report said 10, but once we had audited, there was actually 12 traffic charges laid and 2 written warnings. We also conducted 2 roadside tests under the new mandatory alcohol screening provisions that came into effect in December. On December 7th, St. Andrews RCMP augmented by members of Ambulance New Brunswick took part in the Move Over Law information campaign to educate motorists and on the safeguard on emergency services workers on the roadways. We also took part on the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women ceremony that was held at NBCC St. Andrews on December 6th, and of course I should add also the routine escort of the Christmas parade on December 1st. We now refer to the attached summary of offenses. Under Criminal Code, theft, incident of shoplifting, Break and enter, person in a residence who is actually related to intimate partner violence, and also related to the same incident with harassing communications from a strange spouse. One person was arrested and is still actually in custody. 2 incidents of assault, one involving the youth fight that I referred to earlier, as well as a second incident in which a person was punched and kicked in an unrelated manner. Othering sets via social media that result in hold and secure, and 3 incidents that fail to comply with court orders or police orders. Other categories, 2 false alarms, 3 crime prevention incidents, which included the preventive patrols for both the school and the arena, a lost wallet, a mental health call, Firearms Act that was unfounded. It actually involved conservation officers, so there was actually no offense. Well-being check for mental health issues, assistance call, 1 fire prevention related to a structure fire, and 2 other provincial territorial acts. 1 minor possession of cannabis under the, I think still under the old Controlled Drug and Substances Act. And then, as noted before, the check stops, the noted traffic, and then 1 incident of a collision in which the person failed to stop and was appropriately charged. Are there any questions, Your Worship?
Council, any questions for Corporal Hanson? If not, thank you, Corporal Hanson. I also attended in December the National Day of Remembrance. I didn't get to attend, I should have said this year because I was out of the province, but I regularly attend that, and I appreciate very much that the RCMP are regular attenders at that very important memorial service. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Your Worship.
And the council, that's great. Thank you, Corporal Hanson. We will move on now, and our acting CAO, Chris Spear, I'll ask Mr. Spear to read the Chief Administrative Officer's report to Council.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for the opportunity to report to you on behalf of town staff. I'll continue to use the layout of this report, which aligns with the priority areas of the current municipal plan. Under environment, under the direction of Eastern Charlotte Waterways, the town continues to work on its climate change adaptation plan. We are planning on utilizing public engagement sessions, and to that end, there are 2 upcoming opportunities council and the general public should be aware. On January 19th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and January 22nd from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Sunbury Shores will be hosting public events being led by the staff of Eastern Charlotte Waterways. There will be more notices in the Courier, on social media, posters, as well as the municipal website. Please take the time to participate and have your view heard on this important topic of the town. Within the recently passed 2019 capital budgets, there are a couple of projects that address climate change, addressing the issues related to storm surges at Indian Point and reconditioning Market Square and the Wharf. I am making initial inquiries with federal and provincial departments to see what funding opportunities may be available. In addition, the asset manager and I are reviewing what information is before us and will bring to council recommendations on how to proceed. We will use the climate adaptation plan as a tool, hoping it identifies our vulnerabilities and points to recommended priorities for council. Culture and recreation. As the residents and visitors will attest, the 2018 Christmas season was another successful event in St. Andrews. From the lobster trap tree and lights in the downtown to the events like the parade, Ross Memorial Museum Christmas Open House, and Skate with Santa, we were offered many opportunities to celebrate the season with family, friends, and neighbors. Thank you to all the volunteers who participated in enhancing our community and making it a special time of year for all. The arena is up and running and offers structured activities like hockey, speed skating, and curling, but are also open public skating throughout the week. Please keep in touch through Facebook, or call the arena to see available times. I am happy to report that council, through partnerships with the Dunn Foundation and St. Andrews Community Tennis Association will be making an investment in the tennis courts this year to recondition them with the aim to eliminate the cracking we have seen over the last several years. Ideally, the work is completed when the weather is warm, so the courts could be closed 2 to 3 weeks in the late spring. As part of the municipal plan process, Council has also authorized a transportation plan to be developed which will incorporate active transportation components such as sidewalk, trails, and bike lanes. This is in the very early stages of planning, but will include public engagement as part of the process. Keep tuned for further details later in the spring. The town is still looking for volunteers to fill positions within the Recreation Advisory Committee. The group is meant to provide us with recommendations on enhancing the recreational opportunities within St. Andrews, whether it's improved facilities, programs, or how to encourage the public to participate in already existing chances. For more information or to let your name stand, please contact the Town Hall. Under General Land Use and Development, provided in this package are reports from the Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission on the building permits and subdivisions authorized for 2018 that have a value of $3.8 million. One of the pillars coming out of the municipal plan process is growth, which implies individuals or families, but also means the economy. Both go hand in hand to grow the tax base, increase the population, but also enhances the economic, educational, cultural, and recreational opportunities within the town. Realizing the importance of that, Council is still looking for volunteers to fill its Growth Strategy Advisory Committee. You may be approached to let your name stand, but we are diligently looking for volunteers who have an interest in this to add your input on the best way to attract newcomers to St. Andrews. Infrastructure and Services. With the approval of the 2019 budget occurring in December, staff are now ready to begin the procurement process for many of these projects. Copies of the 2019 town budget are available on the website as well as at the town office. If you have any questions, feel free to contact a member of council or myself to communicate which projects are on the table this year. As a very brief summary, council has approved water and sewer main replacement in areas within the town plat, continued asphalt resurfacing, primarily in the subdivision, continued work on Market Wharf and Market Square, and a new sidewalk on Harriet Street from Prince of Wales to the arena. It's been an unusually early winter with a series of rain and warm days followed by a period of very cold days. Public Works continues to diligently try to keep ahead of the ice buildup, but appreciate the public's understandings on the challenges in dealing with this unusual weather. And if you were like me, late morning, early afternoon, you probably heard the backhoe breaking up the ice in the downtown with loud screeches, but it's, again, to make the sidewalks and streets much more safer. The contractor who is completing the work on Market Wharf has been delayed a bit by strong winds, tides, and rainy weather, but the work is scheduled to be completed later this month. The wharf continues to face challenges related to its age, being in a saltwater environment, and a primary asset being affected by rising sea water levels. As mentioned before, we're hoping to present a strategy to council surrounding the long-term refurbishment and care of the structure. As noted last month, several of the windows that were recently replaced at the arena were cracking. The contractor has acknowledged there was a flaw in the material and is scheduled to replace many of the panes in the upcoming months. Although not mentioned in the fire chief's report, the department was called out on Christmas Day to rescue 3 individuals who got stranded on the sandbar between Minister's Island and the Bar Road. I wish to express my appreciation to Chief Theriault and his volunteers for making themselves available all day, every day, for any emergency that may come up. It's a time-consuming position that relies on the goodwill of the members to be ready at a moment's notice and to continuously participate in training to ensure that they are well qualified to safely handle any situation that may come their way. Under Finance and Administration. Unfortunately, there's no financial report available this month. However, the year-end projections included in the 2019 budget documents should reflect closely the actual results of the town. Included in Council's motion tonight is an application to the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board. This is part of the overall funding strategy for 2019 capital projects and will be part of a submission to the March 11th, 2019 meeting of the board. Council has also been presented with various grant applications made by community organizations that are hoping to make a decision on tonight so that the groups can use their grant in their planning for this year. I appreciate the trust the mayor and council have placed in me to be the acting CAO for the next several months. With the departure of 2 personnel within the office over the last 6 weeks, I ask for the public's understanding of the challenges for staff in keeping up with the workload. We still continue to strive to offer a high level of service, but it may just take a little longer to return an email or phone call, be available for a meeting, or follow through on an initiative. We are all working hard to move St. Andrews forward during this transition time. Respectfully submitted, Chris Spear.
Here, I appreciate that. We will now look for a motion to approve all of the staff reports. And by the way, once these reports are approved, we chose early in our mandate as a council not to go through. We get reports every month from every department, and everyone on council reads those reports, and Mr. Spear, the CAO, takes out of those reports the things that he wants to highlight or thinks could be highlighted, and I know that councillors often comment on things that are in the other reports, but please be assured that all of those reports, once approved by council, are available as part of the documentation that's available to the public. So if anyone wishes to ask for any report of any department that's been approved through this process, those are available to the public. So I will look for a motion to approve the staff reports, please. Yeah, Councillor Bishop, and a seconder to approve the reports. Councillor Grew, thank you. If there are no other comments, all in favor of approving the staff reports?
Just since it's a public meeting, I think it's important just to acknowledge, I know it was in its conclusion, but both Terry Acton, who's acting as deputy, but also Chris Spear, who's our acting CAO. The town is no stranger to transition. Seems like every few years we go through it, and time after time, Chris continues to raise his town for this community to make sure that it's business as usual and the people that visit town hall get the information they need, as well as council. So I just wanted to thank them both in this meeting, just because it is greatly appreciated by all of council.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Well said. Okay. All in favor of approving the staff reports, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, the staff reports are approved, and we will move on. We'll now go to the introduction, consideration, and passing of bylaws and motions. Finance and Administration. Councillor Bishop.
FA 180901, dated September 1st. There's 2019 grant requests, and the background is Charlotte County Ground Search and Rescue requested $500. St. John Theatre Company requested $1,500. Huntsman Marine World Oceans Day requested $5,250. Huntsman Marine Film Festival requested $6,650. Day Trippin' NB advertisement asked for $950. James Steele Winter Warmer Festival requested $500. St. Croix Blades sponsorship for meat requested $500, and Dial-A-Ride requested $2,500. These are going through as separate motions for each area. Motion 1, I move that council approve a disbursement of $250 from assistance grants to Charlotte County Search and Rescue for the 2019 budget year.
Could I have a seconder for that motion, please? Councillor Harrison, thank you.
Can we amend that to 500 as per the email earlier today?
Yeah, we'll look for a motion to amend if that's what you wish. Deputy, you second that?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Now that's on the table. So yes, that was an oversight based on previous discussion. So the amendment is to move that disbursement be increased from $250 to $500 from assistance grants. if there's any further comments to that. If not, all in favor of the amendment as stated, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, so that amendment is passed. So we'll move to the back to the original motion that council approve a disbursement of $500 as amended from assistance grants to the Charlotte County Research and Rescue for the 2019 budget year. All in favor of that motion as amended, please signify by saying aye. Councillor Bishop. All in We have a seconder to that motion as amended? Deputy Mayor, sorry. Deputy Mayor, I didn't see you. All in favor of that motion as amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Right, thank you, Council.
Okay, the second motion, I move that council approve a disbursement of $250 for assistance grants to the Huntsman Marine Science Center to sponsor World Oceans Day activities for the 2019 budget year.
Can I have a seconder for that motion, please? Councillor Gumeshoe, thank you, sorry. Any comments on that motion from anyone?
I think on this one, my only comment would be, from what I read in here, it's their 50th anniversary, and this project, the activity that they do is basically doing a beach cleanup around town. So I would ask that we amend this one as well to 2,500, not 250.
Okay. You're proposing.
Amended motion forward.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Could we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Gumeshoe, thank you. Comments from Council. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I do appreciate all the work that the Huntsman Marine Science Center does in our community. We've been fortunate the last 2 years to make sizable contributions to events, but the total budget for the year for the town of St. Andrews for assistance grant is $9,000. A grant of this amount is pretty much giving 25% of our whole budget to one particular organization. I would myself be in favor of keeping it as the original motion for $250, as there's a secondary motion for basically the film festival with speakers where we have another $250. So I think $500 out of $9,000. There's a lot of different groups that'll be raising their hand over the next year looking for money, and we have to do a better job budgeting this year because we were over budget last year by saying yes to everybody. Thank you.
Any other comments? Councillor Grube.
Thank you, Your Worship. In looking back at the disbursements or grants issued in 2018, I noticed that the town was generous and gave $2,000. So I think that the $2,500 is not out of line, but I do take the Deputy Mayor's words. We only have $9,000 to spend. We don't have enough money to go around to everyone. I would much prefer to see something smaller, but the motion is for $2,500.
Other comments in relation to that amendment to the motion? If not, I'm going to call the question. All in favor of the amendment, which is to increase the disbursement from $250 to $2,500, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. All those not in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying nay.
Nay.
Okay. The nays have it, so the amendment is defeated. So we will move back to the original motion, and that motion has been...
I would like to propose an amendment to increase it from $250 to $1,000.
All right, we can go there. Is this a bidding war, Council, we're getting into here? But I'll go with that. All right, we have another motion to amend the motion to change the disbursement amount from $250 to $1,000. Could I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Gumeshoe, thank you. Comments?
I would think even at 2,500, it's a pretty cheap cleanup of our beach. And you're not going to get anyone in the private sector to clean up our whole beach for $1,000. So it's really tough to vote against this or just say it's only worth $250.
Okay. Any other comments from council? We have a motion, we have a seconder.
Well, I feel that we only have so much money, so I could go for the $1,000, but 2,500 just seemed a little high. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll then call the question if there are no other comments. All in favor of the amended motion to raise the disbursement from $250 to $1,000, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, please signify by saying 2. So the ayes have it, so that amendment is passed. So the motion will now read that, maybe we can restate the motion, Councillor Bishop.
Certainly. I move that council approve a disbursement of $1,000 from assistance grants to the Huntsman Marine Science Center to sponsor World Oceans Day activities for the 2019 budget year.
All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Councillor Akaji, are you opposed? Yeah, okay, sorry, I missed your hand, sorry. Thank you, okay, so the ayes have it 4-2, which equals 6. I like that. Good, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Councillor Bishop, carry on.
Motion 3. Move that council approve a disbursement of $250 from assistance grants to the Huntsman Marine Science Center to sponsor the 2019 Marine Science Film Festival for the 2019 budget year.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder for that motion, please? Councillor Grew, thank you. Comments, Council?
Could I ask a general comment on all of these? And it may be Mr. Spear that has to chime in, but is our policy, do we have a deadline for people to apply for these grants?
The current policy that's in place says applications for anything more than $500 is supposed to be in by October 1st of the prior year. Anything under that can be submitted at any point during the year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Spear. Thank you. Okay, any other comments? I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Deputy Mayor Henderson, duly noted. Okay, that motion is passed.
Okay. Next motion, I move that council approve a disbursement of $500 from assistance grants to the Winter Warmer Festival for the 2019 budget year. And they actually requested $500. And the motion is for $500.
All right. Can I have a seconder to that motion, please? Deputy Mayor, thank you. Comments, Council? Yes, Councilor Gubisham?
The Winter Warmer Festival, after you read the letter, you realize it's starting to gain momentum, and I wonder if there might be some other in-kind contributions we might offer in addition to the $500, for example, reduced rate to rent the theater and the ballroom, those sorts of things. Maybe if we could offer those at a reduced rate or at a rate of 0, might contribute to that in addition to the $500.
Council, anyone else want to weigh in on that comment? Or my suggestion would be, if no one else wants to weigh in at this point, that I think we should deal with their request, and then, but I would have no objections to asking our CAO to have that kind of a discussion with them about what might be appropriate or what might be possible, and perhaps bring that forward to council. You know, if he has some suggestions, Mr. Spear, would that be possible to do?
Council, the festival happens, I think, on the 3rd and 4th of
Right.
February, so
It might not be for this year.
by the time you, I get back to you in a couple of weeks, you'll have already
Yeah.
been bringing guests down to perform in the next few days.
Right, right.
Perhaps we could just give acting CAO carte blanche to assist in whatever way he deems reasonable.
Perhaps a discussion, if you would mind having a discussion with the organizer and let me know what that amounts to. Thank you. Good. But again, for future reference, Councillor Gumichel, if we don't get to it this year, we'll look at it. Okay. I guess we've had our comments. If there's no other comments, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion is approved.
Did someone second that motion?
They did.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next motion. Move that council approve a disbursement of $500 from assistance grants to St. Croix Blades for the 2019 budget year.
We have a seconder for that motion. Yeah, Councillor Akaji, thank you. Any comments on that? No? Okay. I'll call the question then. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion is carried.
Okay, the next one.
Myself from this one.
Okay. I move that council approve a disbursement of $2,000 from assistance grants to Charlotte Dial-A-Ride for the 2019 budget year.
Michelle, thank you. Any comments? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I know I was a little Scrooge earlier, trying to hold back funds, but I look at services that a municipality should provide, and transportation is one that we should all be a little bit aware of, in the fact that we still, even with Dial-A-Ride, have a huge gap in this community. So without programs like Dial-A-Ride, I would hate to think us being considered an age-friendly community, because right now it would be fairly tough. So to all the volunteers and all the work that Charlotte County Dial-A-Ride, I think the $2,000 is more than fair request for the services they provide to our community.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Comments, Councillor Greer?
Thank you, Your Worship. I think that Dial-A-Ride is an important link in connecting seniors to the community and making for an inclusive community. And I think this is a very, very important initiative that I fully support.
Thank you, Councillor Greer. Okay, if there are no other comments, I will call the question. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion is carried, and we can call Councillor Akaji back to the table if she isn't too far gone over there and we're all hooked up. We should have a buzzer. Yes.
A point of order, if you would. In the background, we identified two entities, the St. John Theatre Company and Day Trippin' NB, that asked for money, but we didn't give them any.
Mm-hmm.
I think that perhaps, just to tie the loop, we should have a motion for each one indicating that the amount to be given is zero, just so that it's there, it's on the record, and that council has made a decision on that, rather than just keeping them hanging.
Yeah, well, no, that's true.
But if we start doing that, what if we also get 50 requests for money? Wouldn't it just be easier to say nothing?
Yeah. Well,
we don't have to do 50 motions next month if we get 50 requests.
The challenge is, what does the CAO respond? He has no authority to respond to anything.
Could it be that no councillor made a motion for money, so therefore it never got tabled? Because one of us would have to move toward the money to get it in the first place, right?
I would make a motion
I think the CAO
for
can go forward and just say, sorry, you're out of luck.
I've always done it that way.
They'll figure it out.
If they don't get money, they'll know they didn't get money.
Before I rule on that, Councillor Brew, Mr. Spear, this surely is not the first time that a council has decided not to give a grant to someone entirely. What would be the normal process that we would have followed in the past? Because I honestly can't remember what we did.
not unusual for us to do it by admission. If they're not given approval, then it's assumed they're not getting approval. We have in the past did zero value motions, but some councillors didn't like that particular approach, so we've just gone by, if you were given a request, then congratulations, but if through this whole process, we kind of know who isn't getting money because it wasn't approved. So I don't mind writing the same to the interested parties that at this point in time, no support came forward.
On point, I take everyone's input on this, but on point, I tend to agree with Councillor Groove that I think that we put our CAO, I think everybody should get a letter back that says, congratulations, you got 2,000, or I'm sorry, but council decided that they could not agree to your request for funding. And so I think that has to come by way of a motion. Councillor Akaji, you have something to say, to have input? Sorry? What? Sorry?
So for sake of efficiency, can we combine them at least?
No, I don't think so. I think there's efficiency, but there's efficiency. These are individual requests from unrelated organizations. I think we have to just have two motions. That's my view.
Your Worship, I'll put forward a motion that we grant the St. John Theatre Company a grant of $0.
Thank you. You have a seconder to that? Second that? Okay, we'll deal with that. Councillor, now we can go on the record. Councillor Akaji, was that your response?
No, that was not my response. My response was then to the response about what we did in the past. On the past council, a form letter was sent out by our CAO that said, yes, they got the grant, or no, they didn't get the grant. It's just a form letter that he would fill out and sign, or she would fill out and sign. And therefore everybody would know. So we wouldn't have to go through all this process of doing each individual. Thank you.
That, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion as put forward by Councillor Groove, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Councillor Akaji, and that didn't add up to 6.
It's not even worth a vote.
Well, if you don't vote, it's a yes.
It's a yes.
Okay. All right. That motion passed. Councillor Groove.
Your Worship, I put a motion forward that we award a $0 grant to Day Trippin NB.
Thank you. A seconder for that, Councillor Bishop. Thank you. Comments on that one? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. 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 And any opposed? So we have 3 ayes and 3 no votes, which means 6 ayes. Okay, fine. That motion passes.
The second point of order, and I don't know if this is on the more detailed sheet, we have 6 motions. Then there's a 7th on the kind of summary sheet about the Chamber of Commerce, or possibly Edie already has that lined up, I'm not sure.
That's already.
Okay, you've got it?
That's already here. I'm ready to do that next.
Perfect.
Okay.
I didn't see it here.
Are we ready to
Yes.
proceed?
FA 180901, dated September 1st. It's 2019 grant requests for the St. Andrews Chamber of Commerce. During the 2019 budget process, the town set aside $5,000 to assist the Chamber of Commerce in the production and distribution of their maps and rack cards. This has been an ongoing program that many tourists use and are able to pick up the items from local businesses, the VIC, the town hall, and they're sent to other provincial tourist centers. And the motion is, I move that council approve the disbursement of $5,000 to the St. Andrews Chamber of Commerce for the production of maps and rack cards.
Okay, I'll look for a seconder for that motion, please. Councillor Groove, thank you. Comments? Any comments in relation to that?
As for, I guess, what we just did, should we also reject their other requests? Because they made more requests than just what we're giving them. Maybe Mr. Gru could help out.
I just see the one in front of us.
Yeah, no, that the, yeah, that, I think that may have to be brought to council. This is the first cut through grants, assistance grants, and those are still pending, I would assume. Is that, and if we follow this process that we've just set a precedent in, I would assume that by the time we get to the next meeting, you'll see that, Councillor Harrison.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a word to clarify is on the previous motion, in the background, there was 2 entities that were listed as requested, but we didn't say anything about it. That's why I brought forward the other motions. In this case, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep. Okay. Councillor Gumichel.
This is our third time since our third year going through the assistance grants, and as I said last week, I find the process to be onerous and time-consuming. I think that for next year we should revisit how we give out these assistance grants and whether we want to do it at all. I think a better way to do it might be to appoint a subcommittee that comes forward with recommendations for council. I think we missed some items of business last week because we spent almost an hour on the assistance grants, and now we've spent a good portion of tonight's meeting on the assistance grants, and I've been trying to bite my tongue, but I can't do it any longer. I find that we're wasting our time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Grew. We'll note that comment, and perhaps we will look at this as another way of doing business. There's another way of looking at this as well. Perhaps I will risk stepping outside of my authority here, but maybe one of our problems is now that we're such a prosperous community, maybe we should be giving out $50,000, not $9,000 to community organizations, or maybe we should give out no money to community organizations and provide money to another agency that will take applications. And we do have such agencies in town that could be we could launder money through other organizations to give out grants to community organizations. So anyway, I don't mean to sound facetious, but I really believe that we do have to look at that. But it's not the amount of money, it's the fact that people get recognized who apply for grants. So anyway, thank you, Councillor Gumichel. I appreciate your comment. All right, Councillor Bishop.
So we're going on to the next grant request.
No, we didn't vote. We haven't
Oh, we
voted
didn't.
yet.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now that it's on the
Oh.
table, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion is passed. Now,
All right.
Councillor.
All right, next, FA 180901, 2019 grant request for the St. Andrews Arts Council. The St. Andrews Arts Council has put in a request for a grant from the Albert McQuoid Trust Fund. One of the mandates of this bequest is to meet the request for funding from music groups in the town of St. Andrews, including school bands, the St. Andrews Arts Council, Inc., and other similar organizations. That's in quotations. This request is appropriate with the wishes of the benefactor and may be dispersed. And the motion is that I move that council approve the disbursement of $3,000 from the Albert McQuoid Trust Fund to the St. Andrews Arts Council for the 2019 calendar year.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder for that motion, please? Councillor Akaji, thank you. Any comments? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion is carried. All right. We will move on.
FA 180902B, October 24th, 18, submitted by Councillor Grew, and the subject is draft bylaw number 18-04, a bylaw respecting remuneration of council. In the background, given that the tax rules with respect to council salaries will be changing effective January 1st, 2019, In addition to addressing these tax changes, this is an opportunity to change council remuneration so that it is more comparable with the average remuneration of similar size municipalities in the province. With the passing of this bylaw number 1603 would be repealed. And the motion is that leave be granted to introduce for second reading bylaw number 1804, a bylaw respecting remuneration of council.
Okay, we're looking for a seconder for that motion, please. Councillor Grew, thank you. Comments by council. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. I already debated this the first motion, but since Councillor Akaji's joined the table, just to bring up to speed, the average councillor in Charlotte County makes about $5,500 a year, and all of us know that the amount of time that this position takes can range anywhere from 4 to 40 hours a week, depending on the week. It's a little bit, you're certainly not in it for the money when you look at provincial and federal representatives. Almost all provincial and all federal governments make 6 figures, so to see us get $5,500, we're clearly not in it for the money. And with that being said, this tax rule change would be taking about a quarter of what we take home, and unfortunately that'll be handed over to, I guess you could say, the taxes. But my position on this is very simple. It's taxes impact people every day. We all get impacted with new tax changes, but we normally can't vote to give ourselves a raise when a tax change impacts our lives. The precedent has been set by previous councils to vote for changes in pay for the next council, meaning if they get reelected, sure, but for the next council, not for themselves. And although this does impact all of our pockets, I think that we should pass on this and look at it once we hand over the next council in a year's time. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other comments? Councillor Grew.
Thank you, Your Worship. I agree with the Deputy Mayor that the practice has been that councils vote increases in remuneration for the next council. However, this is a special case where the federal government has changed the tax laws for councillors, and it affects councillors to a very significant degree. Some cases it could be as much as a 20 to 25% pay decrease. Therefore, it's something that I think needs to be addressed by council. Otherwise, you're seeing a significant decrease as a result of a federal government change that is targeted towards municipal governments. So that's all I have to say on that.
Okay. Anybody else comment? Councillor Bishop.
I will comment. Even though it seems like, and it is actually, that we are voting ourselves a raise, I believe that it's just trying to keep us at what we had before rather than having to take a decrease. At least you might come out somewhere around the same amount of money in the end, net. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments in relation to that? Yeah, certainly.
There is a background information here, and there's a number of other municipalities that have been analyzed, and what we're looking at as a council is the average wages for these other comparable communities. We're not asking to be more than the average or anything like that. We're just asking for simply to be at the average wage of comparable communities.
Thank you. And thank you, Councillor Grew. I think that's an important point for the public to understand, that in fact, and there is background information here that shows that a number of other comparable communities already pay at the level that this bylaw proposes to pay councillors in St. Andrews. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, if there are no other comments, I'll call the question. Now, this did pass first reading on December the 10th. So now we're asking to go to second reading of this, and so I will call the question. All in favor of going to second reading with this bylaw, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Sorry, I missed on this end. Aye. Aye. 4. Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. That's 2. Okay, so 4 to 2, we will go to second reading of this bylaw. So I will read the bylaw. This is bylaw number 18-04, a bylaw relating to council remuneration. Be it enacted by the Council of the Town of St. Andrews under the authority vested in it under Section 49 of the Local Governance Act, Revised Statutes of New Brunswick 2017, Section C18 as follows. Under one definition, in this bylaw, remuneration, quote unquote, means an amount of money paid to the mayor, deputy mayor, and council. And 2, remuneration of council. 2.1, the mayor shall be paid an annual salary of $13,000 to the discharge of the duties of the mayor, the amount being payable in equal monthly installments. 2.2, the deputy mayor shall be paid an annual salary of $8,500 to the discharge of the duties of the deputy mayor, the amounts being payable in equal monthly installments. 2.3, each councillor shall be paid an annual salary of $7,250 to the discharge of the duties of a councillor, the amounts being payable in equal monthly installments. 2.4, on the first day of January 2019 and on the first day of January in each and every year thereafter, the salaries set out in paragraphs 2.1 to 2.3 shall be adjusted by an amount equal to the average increase in the Consumer Price Index, CPI, for New Brunswick, recorded for the immediately preceding calendar year. This bylaw comes into effect on the date of its enactment, read for the second time this 14th day of January 2018. Thank you very much. So read. All right, Councillor Bishop, still you.
All right. FA 170107, dated December 31st, 2018. Subject application to the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board. Background. As part of the 2019 budget process, Council agreed to borrow $457,000 in the General Capital Fund and $687,000 in the Utility Capital Fund to partially finance capital expenditures. The below motion is the first step in the process and will allow us to submit an application for the March 11th, 2019 hearing of the Board. Motion. Be it resolved that the municipality of the Town of St. Andrews submit to the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board an application for the authorization to borrow $1,144,000 for capital expenses for the following terms and amounts. For the General Fund, Transportation Services. Trails, the amount is $80,000 and the term is 15 years. Sidewalk, the amount is $75,000 and the term is 10 years. Seawall replacement, the amount is $100,000 and the term is 15 years. And the wharf, $202,000 and the term is 20 years, for a total general fund amount of $457,000. Utility Fund, water mains, Edward Street. The amount is $287,000 over a term of 20 years. Sanitary sewer mains, Water Street, $275,000 over a period of 20 years. Liner at a concrete liner for the reservoir, $125,000 over 15 years. The total utility fund amount is $687,000 for a grand total of $1,144,000.
Thank you. Could I have a seconder for that motion, please? Councillor Grew, thank you. Comments? Yes?
I just want for the public to know that I think council worked very hard, and it was some tough decisions need to be made to reduce the amount of borrowing we did this year. We got it down to $457,000 for the general fund, and that doesn't include the fact that we paid back on the principal over $200,000, so it's really a net borrowing of about just over $250,000 on a budget of $4 million. So we've worked very hard on that. On the utility fund, we still have some work to do, but we still have some major problems with keeping all the utilities in a serviceable state. So it's a challenge.
Thank you, Councillor. I guess I'll call the question now if there are no other comments. All in favor of approving that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion is approved. Councillor Akaji.
PW 170404I. Several requests have been made by Councillor Bishop for an accessible parking space on King Street near the side door of Cockburn's Drugstore. This will make it easier for those citizens as they park and go to pick up their prescriptions. The town also received a request from Dorothy Doherty of St. Andrews, New Brunswick Liquor Store to put an accessible parking spot on Water Street between Edward and Elizabeth Streets. There is one in the NB Liquor parking lot. However, many town's visitors park there and use the space for several hours as they visit the town. An accessible parking space would be useful at the end of Water Street. Background: it is staff's recommendation that council consider amending the vehicular movement bylaw, Schedule G, to allow for an additional accessible parking spot in the vicinity of the St. Andrews Liquor Store and at Cockburn's Drugstore. Legislation also requires that as municipal bylaws are amended, that they are updated to reflect the change from the Municipalities Act to the Local Governance Act of 2018. So the timeline, the date of the first reading was October the 1st. Hearing of objections was November the 6th. These were all in 2018. And the date of the second reading was December the 10th, 2018. So the motion that the bylaw number 18-01, being a bylaw to regulate vehicular traffic in the town of St. Andrews, be read for the third time. I move this.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder for that motion, please? Councillor Bishop, thank you very much. Comments? I guess the only comment I would say is that we are, in fact, going to go further with this. I believe at a later date we will be doing a transportation review this year that's been funded in this year's coming budget, and I would expect that this and many other things. So this may not be the end of a process. It just happens to be two specific requests that were brought to the attention of council, which council so far has thought to be meritorious, and we go forward on that basis. So. We have a motion. We have a seconder. All in favor of the motion to read this bylaw for the third time, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No one opposed. So I will read the bylaw. In fact, the most important part about this is the schedule, but I will just read by title. The bylaw for the public. This is bylaw number 18-01, a bylaw to regulate vehicular traffic in the town of St. Andrews. Section 1 is definitions. Section 2 is schedule amendments. Section 3 is the authority of police officers. Section 4 is the provincial highway. Section 5 is angled and parallel parking. Section 6 is bus stops and bus parking. Section 7 is no parking anytime. Section 8 is one-way streets. Section 9 is speed limits. Section 10 is overnight parking. Section 11 is pedestrian crosswalks. Section 12 is traffic signals. Section 13 is parking for the disabled. Section 14 is limited parking. Section 15 is stop signs and yield signs. Section 16 is restrictions on street use. Section 17 is parades and processions. Section 18 is other restrictions. Section 19 is penalties. And Section 20 is bylaw repealed, and that's it for the bylaw itself. But I will just move to the schedule that deals with the matter in question, and it is Schedule G. And Schedule G is parking for persons with disabilities. And this is very quick, I'll just read it. Under Water Street, 1 parking space on the north side adjacent to the independent grocery store, 1 parking space on the north side in front of the Scotia Bank, 1 parking space on the south side in front of the post office building, and this is the one that we have just passed. It's 1 parking space in front of the St. Andrews Inn and Suites, which is across from the liquor store, which was the preferred location. And King Street, 1 parking space behind the post office, and 1 parking space behind the drugstore building, which is what we were referring to tonight. And just very quickly, W.C. O'Neill Arena, 2 spaces directly in front of the complex and 2 spaces on the west side of the complex. Parking lot behind the town hall, 1 space. St. Andrews Medical Clinic, 2 spaces in front of the building. St. Andrews Market Wharf, 1 space. So that is then read for the 3rd time. Thank you. All right. Councillor Grew.
Thank you, Your Worship. PS 170703, submitted by Councillor Grew, and the subject is Police Protection Bylaw. Under the Local Governance Act, para 10(3), a municipality shall make bylaws respecting the provision of the service of police protection. In order to comply with the Act, the town should initiate the process to create the attached bylaw. The motion, I move that leave be granted to introduce for first reading bylaw 19-02, a bylaw respecting the provision of police protection service in the town of St. Andrews.
Thank you, Councillor Grew. Can I have a seconder for that motion? Deputy Mayor Henderson, thank you. Comments, Council? Councillor Grew.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would say that the reason for this bylaw is that the new Local Governance Act says we have to have it. It in no way affects the provision of police services in the town of St. Andrews. The bylaw itself references the current municipal services agreement. So this is just to make us in conformance with the Local Governance Act.
Council, any other comments in relation to this? If not, I'll call the question.
On our agenda, it says that the motion is to introduce first reading of bylaw 1807, and then, so there's a typo there. On our agenda,
On the agenda, okay, sorry.
the bylaw number is incorrect.
Okay. All right, we can make that change, but it's not incorrect in terms of the motion, so thank you, we will. So as it, I believe that's correct, is it not, Councillor Grew?
The motion
is correct?
Bylaw 19-02 is the correct number.
Okay.
18-07 is the former number for this.
Former number, okay, so that's what's being amended.
So it's the bylaw, this is the first reading for bylaw 19-02.
Clarification, Councillor Grew. All right, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, therefore I will do the first reading of this bylaw. This is the Town of St. Andrews bylaw number 19-02, a bylaw respecting the provision of police protection service in the Town of St. Andrews. The Council of the Town of St. Andrews, under the authority vested in it by the Local Governance Act, Section 10, Sub 3, and amendments thereto, hereby makes and enacts this bylaw as follows. 1. Title. This bylaw may be cited as the Police Protection Bylaw of the Town of St. Andrews. 2. Definitions. In this bylaw, unless the context otherwise requires, quote-unquote town means the Town of St. Andrews, quote-unquote council means the Council of the Town of St. Andrews, quote-unquote agreement means the Municipal Police Service Agreement, known as the, in brackets, MPSA, between the Town of St. Andrews and the Government of Canada for the provision of police protection services. Quote-unquote parties means the Town of St. Andrews and the Government of Canada. Quote, Police Act, unquote, means the Province of New Brunswick's Police Act, Chapter P-9.2 and regulations thereunder and amendments thereto. Under 3, responsibility, it is the town's responsibility to the Local Governance Act, Section 10, Sub 3, and the Police Act in the Province of New Brunswick, Section 3, Subsection 1, to provide and maintain police protection services within the town. Under 4, authority, through the resolution of Council dated 26th of March 2012, the Town of St. Andrews entered into a Municipal Police Service Agreement, MPSA, with the Government of Canada for the provision of policing protection services by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police as enabled by the Police Act and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Act, Section 20. Number 5, provision of police protection services. The town shall be policed by members of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police under the terms of the MPSA bracket 2012 in a manner consistent with the powers and duties of the Municipal Police Service. 6, terms and conditions. A, the agreement shall be in full force and effective April 1, 2012, until either party gives notice of termination or upon expiration of the MPSA. B, the agreement may be extended or renewed for an additional period or periods upon terms that are agreed to by both parties. C, notice of termination must be in writing and agreed and signed as per notice requirements specified in the MPSA. D, the agreement cannot be modified, changed, or amended except by signed written agreement by both parties. E, the town shall also notify the Province of New Brunswick of a notice of termination of the agreement, and such notice shall include an alternate police services model as prescribed by the Police Act, which will be implemented by the town, and if applicable, proof of a contractual agreement. 7, severability. If any part of this bylaw shall be held invalid, such part shall be deemed severable, and the invalidity thereof shall not affect the remaining parts of this bylaw. 8, effective date. This bylaw comes into effect on the date of final enactment thereof, therefore read for the first time this 14th day of January 2019. Okay, good. Deputy Mayor Henderson.
Perfect. Under Business, Tourism, Heritage, and Culture, reference number BTHC 181101, submitted by Deputy Mayor Henderson. Subject third reading, BIA levy bylaw number 18-08. The background, the St. Andrews Business Improvement Corporation, Incorporated, has submitted their budget for 2019. As part of the approval process, Council must enact a bylaw outlining the levy rate for 2019. Bylaw number 18-08 is presented to Council for consideration of third reading. First reading took place on December 3rd, 2018, while second reading happened on December 19th, 2018, and the notice of objection took place on January 7th, 2019. The motion reads, move that bylaw number 18-08, a bylaw of the Town of St. Andrews to impose a special business improvement levy, be read for the third time.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Bishop, thank you. Any comments, Council? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, I will read for the third time the as follows. The Town of St. Andrews bylaw number 18-08, a bylaw of the Town of St. Andrews to impose a special business improvement levy. Pursuant to Section 5, subsection 1 of the Business Improvement Areas Act, Revised Statutes of New Brunswick 2014, Chapter 102, be it enacted by the Council of the Town of St. Andrews as follows. 1. That a special business improvement tax be levied for the calendar year 2019 on all non-residential property within the business improvement area of the town, said area having been designated in Town of St. Andrews bylaw number 72, enacted on June the 4th, 1984. And 2, that the special business improvement tax for calendar year 2019 shall be at the rate of 20 cents on each $100 assessment of real property value being the non-residential property in the business improvement area. Read the bylaw in its entirety in council first time December 3rd, 2018. Read the second time December the 19th, 2018. Hearing of objections on January 7th, 2019. Read the third and final time January the 14th, 2019. Thank you. Okay. Zoning. Yep.
FA 170703, dated October 29th, 2018. Third reading, draft zoning bylaw number Z 18-04. Council adopted the zoning bylaw number 10-04 in 2010 under the previous Community Planning Act. In the interval time since the passing of that bylaw, various bylaw amendments have been passed by Council. Midway through 2018, the Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission was advised by the Provincial Planning Director that whenever amendments to bylaws passed under the old Community Planning Act take place, such as bylaw 10-04, a repeal and replacement of that entire bylaw and any amendments thereto need to happen in order to make the bylaw legal under the authority of the new Community Planning Act. This, therefore, is an adoption of a new zoning bylaw, Z 1804, with minor reference and terminology changes to ensure legality under the new Community Planning Act. It necessitates a consolidation of all past amendments to the zoning map or text into one document. First reading was November 13th, 2018. Hearing of objections, December 3rd, 2018. Second reading, December 10th, 2018. And the motion. Move that zoning bylaw Z 1804 being a bylaw to repeal and replace zoning bylaw number 10-04, a bylaw of the Town of St. Andrews respecting zoning and all amendments thereto, including bylaw number 13-01, saving and accepting bylaw number 15-02, bylaw number Z 1701 and bylaw Z 1702 and bylaw Z 1703 be read for a third time.
Okay. Can I have a seconder for that motion, please? Councillor Grew, thank you. Comments, Council? Seeing none. I'm 102 pages. Help me out here, staff. What am I required to do at minimum here?
Yeah, if council doesn't object, your worship, maybe read by title, but even consolidate instead of reading all the off the index, instead of reading all the minor parts, just read the major titles.
Okay. Council, will you agree with that? since we...
No, read the whole thing. All 102 pages.
Well, this, just for those of you in the audience who just can't wait to read all of this, it is available at the town office, so you can look at this. And I don't mean to diminish its importance. It's a very significant bylaw in the town, but it is exhaustive and exhausting. So, yes, thank you, Council. I appreciate your perseverance, and I will go through and just read from the beginning the big print, right?
Your Worship, sorry, just point of order. I don't think you actually called the final vote. You asked for comments, and then
Yeah, okay, sorry.
to just
Pardon
do
me.
the vote, and then you can.
Yep, thank you. I got carried away with the task in front of me. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Spear. So I will read for the third time, and here it goes. Section 1 is title and scope. Section 2 is administrative and interpretive clauses. Section 3 is general provisions. Section 4 is residential zones. Section 5 is commercial zones. Section 6 is community use zones. Section 7 is special zones. Section 8 is signage. Section 9 is development within the town plat and historic business district. And those are the big things. Section 10 is repeal and transition, and Schedule A is the zoning map, and Schedule B is a map of the town plat and historic business district. Okay, that is the third reading. Thank you, Council, for your perseverance. Okay. Councillor Harrison.
D180401B, and it's the third reading of the zoning bylaw amendment Z19-01 nano breweries. The zoning bylaw does not currently allow for microbreweries or nano breweries. Microbreweries in New Brunswick support many other industries, including agriculture, professional services, wholesale trade, and tourism-related industries such as food services, accommodations, and retail. The town has received informal inquiries from potential developers for a microbrewery in St. Andrews. At the June 4 meeting of council, I believe that's 2018, staff recommended a zoning bylaw amendment to allow microbreweries within the central commercial zone. Subsequent to the hearing of objections and council discussion, planners have developed a new proposed bylaw amendment which would instead allow for smaller nano breweries. In discussions with Alex Henderson, Director of Planning at the Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission, he advised to table the third reading until the completion of the third reading of zoning bylaw Z18-04, which was on the agenda for third reading earlier tonight as well, which is what we just read, or the mayor did. So the timeline of this matter has been views of the PRAC regarding microbreweries were received May 22nd, 2018. We had the hearing of objections to allow for microbreweries, which was held on June 4, 2018. And in brackets, we have no objections were noted. There was a bylaw amendment for nanobreweries read for the first time August 13th, 2018. And then there was a bylaw amendment for nanobreweries read for the second time September 5th, 2018. We also received the views of PRAC regarding nanobreweries on September 19th, 2018. And we held a hearing of objections to allow for nanobreweries, which was held on October 1, 2018. And in brackets, no objections were noted, end bracket. So the motion tonight is I move to amend Z19-01 to bylaw number Z18-04, a bylaw of the town of St. Andrews respecting zoning, be read for a third and final time.
Thank you, Councillor comparison. Seconder for that motion, Councillor Grew. Thank you. All right, comments, Council. Councillor Grew.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I'll get you.
Just a few irregularities I want to point out on this one and sort of make sure they're on the record. This is actually the first reading of bylaw Z 19-01. The previous bylaw was titled Z 18-03. The previous two readings were to change bylaw 10-04. Now this bylaw is changing bylaw Z 18-04. At our committee meeting, we asked staff the question, staff from RSC the question. They indicated that legal advice was that it was okay to proceed despite these irregularities. So, Your Worship, I would request that these irregularities be noted in the minutes and that the advice from legal counsel that it's okay to proceed be noted in the minutes as well.
Thank you, Councillor Grew. We can certainly do that. That was the advice that we received at the council committee meeting, but if you're satisfied with that, we will just note those in the minutes of this meeting and proceed on the basis of the advice that we received. Thank you.
I don't think it would be fair to the proponents to delay this any further.
Thank you, Councillor Grew.
I don't want to
agree.
be there.
All right. Any other comments in relation to Councillor? Yep. Councillor Bishop.
I feel that, well, there's lots of microbreweries in other places, and do we really want them here? And a nano brewery is a smaller version of it. The real thing that I consider is, does that make our community any more family friendly? Do we need any more purveyors of liquor in our downtown? And I'm not saying anything to the proponents of the said microbrewery. I think that everyone deserves to have a chance to run a business. I just feel that if you ask the RCMP how they would feel about an extra business that does this kind of sales, and the repercussions of drunk driving and all that kind of stuff, I just don't feel comfortable with it. So in the interest of our families in our town and visitors who come to our town, I just don't feel comfortable with it. And I'd like to go a little bit further. You open the door to this kind of business in the town. How many more businesses would come forward and want to start something similar in the way of a business? And how many of these would you really want in your downtown core? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bishop. Those comments will be duly noted in the minutes for, if you wish. I'm sure that's the case. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Just to have a voice for nano breweries. So this process has been very public. We normally have one hearing of objections to repeal a bylaw. Because we switched from microbreweries to nano breweries, this is one of the rare cases. I think that and the development we heard from earlier are the only two I can think of that we had two opportunities for people to voice objections, and we didn't hear a whole lot. The only one we heard is there was concern about the size of the microbrewery. Council took that back under consideration, and we decided that a nano brewery be a better fit for this community. We are a tourist-driven community, and I can tell you all of the leading tourist communities have micro or nano breweries in them. It's a trend that people are looking for, and I understand that consumption is a concern, but when you go to the ANBL now, they're actually price pointing you to make decisions like buying 24 packs or 36 packs versus just buy a simple growler. So you can make an argument that this is more about a craft and actually encourages responsible drinking versus what some of the trends that are happening at our liquor boards are happening. And to take it a step further, in Nova Scotia, they're actually marketing 48 packs right now. So I don't think that there's a big concern. The comment about what is too many, council does have the desire, if 2 or 3, whatever that number is that we start getting uncomfortable with, we can always repeal this bylaw, and the existing businesses that are in could have a grandfather clause and continue to operate. So we, despite how we're allowing them at any given time, if council has concerns, we can still shut the door in the future for this. But right now, I think that if you look at our downtown plat, we have a new building open. There's basically some, I guess you could say some vacant space there. I think that with the cost of wages going up, the cost of power going up, we need to help businesses find other ways to generate revenue, and this will probably help some restaurants find this. So I think this is a very positive thing for our community, and I hope all of council supports this, because it's been a 9-month process at no fault of our own for those that have been waiting for an answer. Can they potentially look at this business model or not? So it'll be good to finally put this one hopefully to bed tonight. Thank you.
Councillor Grew?
Thank you, Your Worship. If I could ask the development officer a clarifying question, is the current bylaws as we have right now, a bar could open up for business on Water Street, is that not correct?
Well, the way the bylaws are written right now, Your Worship, is that you have to have it as a secondary use, that just changed tonight. The way it's written right now, under the 1804, I have the other version memorized in my head. Okay, yep, here we go, that helps. So, a licensed premises is a secondary use within a restaurant or an brewery. So, yeah, so you'd have to have, in order to have a bar as a standalone entity, it needs to be attached to a restaurant or an brewery. The way it was before, you'd have to have it as a secondary use to a restaurant. And it also prohibited lounges or live entertainment as any new uses to have lounges. That was repealed, and so it currently reads, you can have a secondary use as a licensed premises within a restaurant or a brewery. So it's just adding brewery to the things. They can't just have a standalone bar that's not also a brewery or restaurant.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, council? All right. I'll call the question then. All in favor of the motion as read, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Councillor Bishop? So noted. Okay. So I will read the bylaw for the third and final time. Bylaw number Z19-01, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z18-04, being zoning bylaw for the town of St. Andrews. Be it enacted by the Council of the Town of St. Andrews as follows. 1. By adding to the list of central commercial zone uses subject to terms and conditions, bracket conditional uses, in section 5.2.2 subsection 1, the following, bracket XVI, bracket a nano brewery, and 2, add a definition to the Town of St. Andrews zoning bylaw, Z18-04, for a microbrewery, quote-unquote nano brewery, means the small-scale manufacturing of beer, wine, spirits, or other alcoholic beverages. The maximum total floor space allowed for this use is 3,500 square feet. This use may include the sale of alcoholic beverages to the public for consumption within the premises. Accessory activities may include the preparation and sale of food and storage, packaging, bottling, canning, and shipping of products manufactured within the premises. This use does not include outdoor manufacturing activities or unenclosed outdoor storage of material or equipment associated with the business. This use does not generate odor, sound, dust, waste, or delivery traffic in excess of that which is characteristic of the zone in which it is located. And 3, by repealing paragraph C in section 5.2.1 and substituting the following: C, a licensed premises as a secondary use within a restaurant or a nano brewery. And read the first time the 13th day of August, AD 2018. Read the second time the 4th day of September, AD 2018. And then now read the third time this 14th day of January, AD 2019. Whew. Wow. Wow. Have to take a breath there. This was. All right. Okay. New business, we have none. We'll move to question period. Questions from the audience? Everybody's tired. I hear it. Me too. All right. Terrific. Well, look, I want to now move on to councillors or deputy mayor's comments. Deputy Mayor, any comments?
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to recognize Councillor Akaji. Normally when you have a vacancy partway through council, especially just over a year left, there's a little bit of a transition period, and probably someone new might be just understanding the position in time for an election, but you're no stranger. I think you have more experience than at least 5 of us combined up here, so you're a welcome addition. You've been involved in the community. I know you're passionate about things like the library and other projects. We're very lucky to have you, and as not to date our relationship, but I think you're my grade 2 soccer baseball coach, so I look forward to working with you again and also learning from you, so welcome aboard. We're very lucky.
Councillor Harrison.
No specific comments, but I'd reiterate what the deputy mayor said and welcome Kate on board.
Great, thank you.
We're happy to have a full council.
Exactly.
Welcome.
Councillor Bishop, any other comments?
No.
Councillor Group. Well, I just want to reiterate, welcome back to the table. Other than that, just want to indicate the Red Cross is still looking for volunteers for disaster management. Additionally, the Red Cross has started a new program for connecting with seniors. So if there's any seniors out there that are feeling isolated, the Red Cross has a program now where we can connect you with the communities and give you a call and just make sure you're okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just want to echo Council's welcoming of Councillor Akaji. She was also my grade 2 teacher. But I'm teaching in her old room, and looking forward to getting lots accomplished in the new year. Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor Akaji.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for the lovely welcome. I came last week and got my first initiation sitting over there, and now I'm back on this side. I thank all the people of St. Andrews that voted me in, or even those that voted against me, but I hope that I will do a good job. I'm very happy to be working with the wonderful staff that we have at St. Andrews. That goes from the ground crew right on up to everybody. The acting CAO and the deputy acting CAO have been very kind to me when I've come into the office, as well as the staff that are working there. There are new faces, as there are new faces on council. I hope that I will have a few words of wisdom. I hope that I will have the history that you need to have, because obviously you've dated me, you two. I just want you to know I still look young. So I'm hoping that I can add to this town council in their last year and a half. I know the people have approached me and said that they're hoping that I will fulfill council's wishes, and I will fulfill the residents of St. Andrews' wishes as well. I thank you, Mayor, for bringing me in and kind of trying to get me back on track. I appreciate all the help and assistance from all the staff, from all the council, and from especially the people of St. Andrews. And thank you, CHCO, for letting me have this opportunity to talk. So thanks again.
Thank you, Councillor Akaji. I too, it's my turn. I too am pleased to have you back at the table. I was also very pleased to have 4 people come forward, in an interim, by-election, to which, makes me very optimistic that we're turning the corner. And although this sounds very self-serving, one of the things that, and I for one am pleased, not just because I got a raise by passing the bylaw tonight, but because no matter what the motivation was for what the Canadian Revenue Agency did in terms of changing that, it does not send the right message. It does not send the message that municipally elected officials are important and do a lot of things for their communities and are really the first contact. And one of the things I have noticed and I've heard from our staff is that not everybody that comes to Town Hall has a municipal problem. They have a problem with government, and we hear about all of them, and therefore we are the first point of contact for people who are in our communities. They come to Town Hall and they have issues with the federal government, with the provincial government, and even issues we hear about from down south of the border that we can't do anything about. But in most cases, I think that the municipal governments are important, and I think that it needs to be recognized. And I, for one, am bewildered at the actions of the Canada Revenue Agency to after many years of support, to change that policy. And so I'm happy that, and I'm glad that we're putting that, hopefully we will put that back into play. We're putting that back into place. Hopefully that will pass, and we will get back to creating more excitement about serving. It's not easy, and we all put a lot of time into this. And nobody did it, as our deputy mayor said. We don't do this for the money. If we wanted to get rich, we'd find some other way to get rich, I think, if that was the case. But nonetheless, it's good that it's recognized that it is important, and we want to encourage other people to stand for election coming in the next municipal general election, which takes place, I think, in May of 2020, correct? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. We did a lot of reading tonight, so thank you for being here. Motion to adjourn? Seconder? We're adjourned.